If you're a man who genuinely wants to attract an emotionally mature woman into your life, this video is for you. Not just to attract her, but keep her. Last week, we talked about traits that attract emotionally mature women, and today we're flipping it. Because sometimes it's not that you're missing something attractive, it could be that you're unknowingly showing traits that push emotionally mature women away. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 traits that push emotionally mature women away, and if you stick around until the end, I'll show you the exact psychological shift that separates the men who get chosen long-term from the ones who quietly get filtered out. So you can stop guessing and start becoming the kind of man that is the obvious choice. Let's get into it. So first I want to talk about speaking negatively about women. What the problem is. This shows up as talking badly about your ex, calling women crazy, saying women are manipulative, framing yourself as always the victim, even subtle things like, women just don't understand logic, or women are too emotional. Why this problem exists? A lot of us were hurt. And I'll relate here. There was a period in my life where I was hurt in past relationships. And if I'm honest, I didn't view the best in people. I didn't view the best in women. It wasn't loud hatred, it was quiet cynicism. And that worldview shaped the energy I brought into relationships. Emotionally mature women can feel that. They're not just listening to your words, they're listening to your worldview. And it wasn't until I unlearned that bitterness that I realized I was attracting relationships that mirrored it. So if you believe women are difficult, you'll attract relationships that feel difficult. If you believe women are out to get you, you'll behave guarded. Some men play the victim, overgeneralize, use humor to mask resentment, talk like men versus women. Different behaviors, same root. The root is distrust. And emotionally mature women do not build their life with men who distrust women. Now, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you're respectful. But the second one is where a lot of men fail. Really quick, if you're getting value, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more men who need this message. Next, I want to talk about inconsistent words and actions. What the problem is. You say you'll call, and you don't call. You say you value communication, and you shut down. You say you want something serious, and your actions are casual. None of us are perfect, of course. But emotionally mature women look for patterns. Why this problem exists? Sometimes it's immaturity. Sometimes it's people-pleasing. Sometimes it's fear of confrontation. Sometimes it's a lack of discipline. But here's the truth. Inconsistency limits long-term trust, and emotionally mature women think long-term. They aren't asking, is he exciting? They're asking, can I build a life on this? One piece of feedback I've heard multiple times, including from my wife, is, it felt like I could trust you. And that meant everything, because I do my best, not perfectly, but consistently, to keep my words and actions as aligned as possible. But I've had guy friends who on paper are what most women would call attractive, but they can't hold down long-term relationships. Why? Because they miss this point. What's cool for you though, this one is hard to fake, and the fakers never fully get this down. So if you're genuine, if you stick to your word more often than not, you are already ahead. Some men overpromise, avoid uncomfortable conversations, say just what she wants to hear, change personality depending on the moment, different expressions, same root, lack of internal alignment. And without alignment, there's no long-term trust. But even that is not the deepest one, because you can be respectful, you can be consistent, but still lose her. So here's the real one. Now let's talk about what you came for, the most important trait that determines if an emotionally mature woman faces you out or chooses you long-term. What the real problem is. Not hobbies, not shared music, and definitely not pretending to like what she likes. It's this. Can you articulate how she sees herself in the world? What motivates her? What scares her? What kind of woman she's trying to become? Can you explain her perspective in a way where she says, yes, that's exactly how I feel. Why this problem exists? Most men, most people, listen to respond, not to understand. We're waiting for our turn to talk, waiting to solve, waiting to defend. But very few men develop the skill of articulation. And here's the powerful part. This skill transfers everywhere. At work, I'm known as the de-escalator. Angry customers come in heated. The first thing I do isn't argue. I articulate their position better than they can. Something like, you're frustrated because you felt ignored. You were expecting this timeline, but now you feel like you weren't prioritized. And when they hear that, they calm way down. The exact same skill applies in relationships. Of course, I had to train myself to slow down, to ask deeper questions, to reflect back what I heard, to actually care about being accurate, more than being right. But when you get good at articulating someone else's position, you don't just become more attractive. You become a better communicator everywhere. When a woman feels understood, she relaxes, she softens, she trusts, and at work, people start to respect you. With friends, you become the steady one. Different benefits, same commonality. You become safe. And emotionally mature women choose safety. Not flash, not ego, not performance, safety. So the core message that ties all this together is this. The real competition isn't other men, it's emotional depth. If she doesn't feel understood, she won't feel safe. And if she doesn't feel safe, she won't stay. That about wraps up this video. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this and realizing, I've had some of these patterns, that's not shame, that's awareness. And is exactly why I built the 5-day Malusog Reset. It's not just about relationships, it's about alignment. If you struggle with consistency, then the reset helps you build internal discipline. If you notice bitterness or resentment from past hurt, then the reset helps you rebuild your mindset. If you want to become the kind of man who feels steady, grounded, and trustworthy, then the reset gives you structure across all 3 pillars: your body, your sobriety, and your relationships. Because emotional leadership doesn't start in the relationship, it starts with you. The link for the reset is in the description for those who are ready. Tagalog sign off. Kung gusto mong piliin ka niya araw-araw, maging lalaking kaya niyang pagkatiwalaan. Which means, if you want her to choose you every day, become a man she can trust. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.